light a torch, we've got some other ways of doing it. A little bit quicker the way that we do it here. So Engel, just kind of talk us through both of the avenues and also what you're going to be doing with this.
Yeah, so starting off, as you know, there's a web over there we gotta burn on fire. So what we're gonna do here is pull out our Deku stick and then put it away so that when it goes away, it's going through that torch still. And what that's gonna do is kind of trick the game into thinking that the torch I'm holding is still lit, even though it's kind of, in my pocket. Right? But when we pull it back out, it's gonna be able to still burn that web. And now there's a few ways to kind of skip our way up to this ledge here, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop a bomb here, step back a bit, then kind of hold Z and R and roll forward towards it, right? So I'm gonna do this, and then it's going to explode on our shield. And now that stores what we call a ground jump. And basically, when Link tries to do a backflip here, he's gonna do this other kind of weird little jump and get this extra height, and suddenly I'm up here, And, like I said, there's the flame. We're through. Was it, we need these hovers to beat Volvagia because of perhaps where the keys in this dungeon are? Or, so with that, we're just gonna kind of come in here and explore a bit.
Already, this is kind of a great moment to talk a little bit about some of the alterations made to some of these dungeons. So that check that Engel, that door that Engel just opened, in base Ocarina of Time, that actually has a small key that you need in order to get to it. Not the case here. You saw that Engel just bashed those out of the way with the hammer and was able to come through. This is for a number of reasons, partially to prevent players from getting soft locked, but also it does change the way that you can route a seed. So let's imagine that you came in here without the Megaton hammer, which you could totally do. You can't get back there, but you might find a small key in the one check that Engel will get to here shortly after he takes care of this Flare Dancer, which means that maybe you do have to come in here without the hammer, get an item, come back after you find the hammer, and finish the dungeon. So, of course, you would not usually have access to the hammer when you come in here early in vanilla Ocarina of Time, but we have it now, so let's get these checks out of the way, and it does make the dungeon a little bit easier. I said how many skulls you can access very, very early on. You'll be amazed. That doesn't mean it's fun. Engel did do a little flame storage there to kind of get revenge, and also demonstrating a really interesting concept. Talk just a little bit, very briefly, Engel, about the spawn points with regards to the flames and why you have to be a certain distance away from the torch.
Yeah, so one of the things I guess we didn't mention is when you do store a flame from a torch, you still have to pull out the Deku stick when you're in range of that torch. If it deloads because you've run too far away, then you kind of forgot that your flame's on fire, I guess, is the lore here. Like, no longer sees the torch. He's like, oh, I guess it's just a regular stick again. So, you saw I had to pull out the lighted stick before entering the next door there.
This area, when I was playing through the vanilla game as a kid, again, probably don't need to, so it's again just another area that you'll see visited a lot. This is actually one of the checks that Engel passed by earlier, or got to peek earlier. It's connected, and what a great check to find back here. Hey, Engel, find 2 more of those real quick for me, would you?
All right, well, we'll give it a try here, see how it goes. It is a pretty difficult trick, so no promises if we don't get it here, but basically we want to come in this door, get up against this wall, make 4 side hops, backwalk here. I need to equip Deku Nuts as I talk. Side hop a couple times. I think we missed it, so I'm going to abort that. We'll try it again. One more time for the fans.
For the fans.
Yeah, the angle of my walk there was a little off. And there we go. So we threw a Deku Nut to stun the skull, and then a little help from our hover boots over the gaps. Pretty quick way to get through that room. But of course, again, it's a hard trick. You saw me mess it up the first time. So don't be afraid. Like, if you have the iron boots, they're very helpful in that room too, to let you go through with the wind blowing.
Oh, but again, it's kind of as Engel said, you're normally expected to enter here with your Song of Time, use your Song of Time to get to the courtyard, get some checks in there, move further up, but if you come in here with the bow or with the hover boots, you can do it out of order. I don't believe this! What in the world?
One of these has to be long shot, right?
Yeah,
one of them. Not that one, but you know.
Oh, you're going all out.
We'll give it one try, right?
Sure. So this is another very difficult trick that Engel got first try there. So I'll just go ahead and let you explain why that is useful and fun and why you went out of your way to show people.
Yeah, that's a fun little one. Normally you would have to go all the way around to that falling ceiling room late in the dungeon, come out a door above me to call up Pierre. It's kind of like a shortcut if you wanted to, like, you know, play through the dungeon, take a break, right? But in actuality, if you do a cute little trick with the hover boots and get on the top of that other little doorway, you can call Pierre from a distance.
And it's certainly not the boss key. It is a small key, so we're going to grab it anyway. But Engel, go ahead and show just a couple ways to access the crack, or one of the ways to access the crack.
Yeah, so we actually already kind of looked at it while we were on our way up, but there's a few ways you can get to this. One way, you can use a bomb chew here, wait till it lights up the 4th time, drop it, and it will blow up the wall here. And you can kind of just come down here with your iron boots, kind of like we did in Forest, hook shot the chest, and just grab it like that. But there's other ways too. We could show that here when I lower the water. We can also make use of our hover boots.
And again, one of the reasons the water temple is so infamous is that exact check. In vanilla, you are expected to have adjusted the water a few times and have at least a decent command on how the water level affects the dungeon to come back up here. You would need it to be at the middle level, but we've got a couple ways around it. And Engel's going to demonstrate another one here.
Yeah, so
water level is low.
Again, we can just roll forward, do a little side hop, and we're in. Very simple little trick if you have hover boots when you come in here.
What is oftentimes the quickest boss fight in the game. We'll hope for a clean run here from Engel. And it kind of speaks for itself, but we'll let Engel narrate as he plays it.
Yeah, so I was using a little audio cue there to know when to grab Morpha, and we're done. Basically, I waited till I heard the splash noise of Morpha to pull out my hook shot, and then grab it, bring it on over to the corner of that door frame, to a quick little jump slash and some stabs.
And if that one seemed a little intense, it's because it is. It's not easy to do, but anytime that you pull Morpha up and you get kind of popping around there, you can always drag Morpha over to the corner with the hook shot. You can just keep pulling Morpha over to the side.
Yeah, so
get little nucleus to the
alternatively, corner. You could kind of put Morpha over in this corner as well, do a little jump slash, and keep it stuck in there. That one's a little bit easier.
This is typically a really cool fight to see done well and efficiently, and we do have the big Goron sword as well, so I think I'll once again turn this over to you to kind of narrate your way through this final boss fight.
Yeah, so we're here. Ganondorf is actually going to tell us where the light arrows were As you can see, he says, oh, from the market. So if I didn't have them coming in here, I could just ask Ganondorf, and he's just happy to tell me. I don't know why, but a nice little feature. But as for the fight itself, what we're gonna do is move away from Ganon while he hits the middle platform, then come right back to the edge of it. As long as we're on the edge here, he's not gonna hit us. So we can just play a quicker game of tennis right there. And then get some stabs on him.
Huh. Now here in phase 2, as some of you may remember, we are going to lose the Master Sword, but we've got ways of doing that. And Angle, I know you did the jump slash there, so what'd you do that for? What's your plan of attack against this guy?
Yeah, so again, we do the jump slash to store that value, and if you weren't here earlier, we said other weapons can actually now use that value in a crouch stab. We could use the hammer that I have equipped, or we could use the Bigoron sword. Although you guys did make a request, didn't you? So we're gonna pull out these real quick, roll back, and toss a Deku Nut at him. And can actually do some damage like this.
If you have 10 Deku Nuts, that actually will take out phase 1 of Ganon here. So really, the game allows you to kind of utilize any item to fight this first phase. But the jump slash with the Master Sword and then storing that into a crouch stab is definitely the fastest.